Good afternoon, good evening, wherever it is that you're finding yourselves. I am so excited to be here with you live today, and I'm even more excited to be starting my Monday with you. Happy Monday. Okay, so I know Mondays is sometimes a bit like, Monday blues. I understand, but once I've learned how to change my mindset around Mondays and deciding that I'm going to have a good day and choosing to have a great day, it really has made a very, very big impact on how I feel about Mondays. So now I feel like I am back in the swing of things. Okay, so today we're going to talk a little bit about how to love again and the secrets behind how to start to get back into the swing of things. If you've had failed relationships, if you've had, maybe trauma in relationships, maybe you felt that your trust was betrayed, maybe there was just a huge incompatibility. Sometimes when we throw our whole heart into something, which we normally do when we fall in love, I mean, what a great feeling. What a great experience. And then to feel that there's maybe not reciprocated, maybe you were with someone that was emotionally unavailable, maybe you gave a lot more than what the other partner could give back to you. The list can be endless. Whatever the outcome was, it doesn't change how much it can hurt. That's pretty universal. When love fails, it hurts. Even if you and the person didn't really get along, it's that feeling of always having someone and then suddenly they're not there anymore. And then we feel the absence of it and we almost overcompensate by not wanting to fall in love again, not wanting to open our hearts again because we were hurt so much. And I can absolutely relate to that. That definitely has, of course, affected me as well in my ability to find love again later in my life, which I did. But it's a journey. It's a journey. And so if you feel that that's where you are in your life right now, then be okay with that because you are exactly where you need to be. And I love to say that, and people sometimes get frustrated like, but what do you mean by saying that, Yvette? What I mean by saying that is if you could have been somewhere else in your life, if you could have been doing something else in your life, then you would have, but you're not. And that means it's perfect. You are exactly where you need to be. Now, I want to talk to you guys a little bit about secrets how to find love again because I don't know if you can relate. You know that feeling where I want love, I want the right partner. I want to feel what it feels like to fall in love again. Like we have all the right intentions, we have all the right goals that we want to, move forward to, that we want to achieve. We know that. But have you noticed that when you think of the idea, you get excited, but when you think of taking action, have you noticed that push, that resistance, like that pushback that comes when you think of doing that? This is now where the subconscious mind is like, mm-mm, it's a great idea. Frontal cortex. It's like it's straight to the frontal cortex. That's a great idea. But do you remember all the times that we got hurt? Let me remind you. And so every time when we have the intention to find someone or to fall in love, the biology of the body jumps and comes forward and it actually goes back and it says, okay, well, let's go look in the archive. Let's go see what did we store? What is the memories here? And then it brings forward this wave of this biological, almost like a biochemical response, and we respond to that. So what we feel is all the bitterness, maybe the sadness, the grief, the trauma. But what we don't realize is that these old feelings are now being projected onto this new conscious beautiful idea that we have of moving forward in our life. So can you see, without us even realizing it, how the past, how our past is constantly dictating our future? Hello, Cody. Good to see you guys. If anyone, I see there's a lot of names. If you guys want to say hello and also where you're from, please do. It's great to see you here and everyone else. And I think I saw Erica there just briefly. I'm here on several platforms, so it's hard for me to scroll in between them, but I'm happy to have you all here. So talking about the subconscious mind, right? And how it can influence and affect our judgment. Now it's affecting our judgment, but we don't realize it. So imagine that you have a bag a big bag full of clothing, all your stuff, things that you don't even need. And now imagine that you go and you travel around the world and you're dragging this bag with you all the time, wherever you go. What a nuisance. How exhausting. How tiring. It's going to start to mentally weigh you down. It's going to start to make you feel depressed and not happy. You'll be too tired to enjoy the present moment. You won't be able to take in all the beautiful new scenery that you have that's around you. Why? Because you're tired, because you don't want to deal with it, because you're so exhausted from dragging this bag all the time. That's what happens when we drag the past of our love lives with us into the future. We get tired, it's exhausting, and it starts to affect your judgment. It affects your filters, what you filter in, what you filter from that relationship dynamics, whether it's someone that you just met, whether it's people that you already know. It's constantly affecting you. So the past is this gremlin, this little gremlin that comes out in times when you just don't see it, when you don't want it, and at the worst possible times. Those times where you're like, well, I just don't, not now. There's someone really attractive in front of me right now. I want to fall in love. And then all these bad feelings come up. Now, what happens is, keep this in mind. When we, for example, want to fall in love, now we have the past coming up. So that box is ticked. Now we know that now. Another aspect and part that can come up here is, now what we do is we are negative bias. So we constantly focus more on the negative rather than the positive. And so we have at least 90,000, 80,000 thoughts per day. And at least 60 to 70,000 thoughts of those thoughts are repeated the next day. Now, if we are negative biased, what's going to happen? That already tells you that the majority of the thoughts being transferred to the next day is going to be what? Negative. So if you're holding negative thoughts about yourself, about love, about relationships, well, good luck. You're going to have a really hard time attracting what you want, because if that is what you're holding, that's the vibration that you're in, whether you realize it or not. And yes, our subconscious mind can put us in a negative vibration. You know that feeling of anxiety? That's an excellent example. That is when we have all these negative subconscious memories being triggered, but we consciously cannot make the connection. Why do we feel the way that we do? But is that anxiety, is that negativity, is that depression that locks us in to this low vibration? And your frontal cortex, consciously in your present life, we're scrambling around and we're trying to make all these different changes. We're trying to shift around, but it's not working, because the subconscious mind has locked you into that negative place and state. So now, what do we do about that? Well, that's tough, because now if we're in that negative frame of mind, we constantly have these negative thoughts running back and forth. Now we have the RAS, which is called the reticular activating system in the subconscious mind. That filters in what you focus on consciously or subconsciously. Well, Houston, now we have a problem. Because what's happening now? These negative thoughts that you're focusing on, conscious or subconscious, now your RAS is now going and it's filtering in people and circumstances that will align with these negative thoughts and feelings. So you're going to align with people that's going to cause you to feel whatever it is that you're energizing. And when that happens, it triggers off this next set and round of negative thoughts and ideas, and the next round of negative emotions and sensations flooding through your body. And then we emotionally react on it. We react on it through in sensations, emotions, and negative thoughts. So you see how one negative thought can become so toxic and become such a vicious cycle, and it locks you into this grip of negativity and making you feel that you can never have what you want. It's frustrating. And any of you here who have been stuck in a place where you feel that you can have what you want and you stay there for long periods of time, what is it going to do? It's going to make you feel unresourceful. You're going to start to feel helpless and powerless. Now you're sinking and sinking and sinking. How the hell do you break that pattern? How do you break it? You know, I once asked a really good friend. Oh no, one good friend. He actually asked me because I was meowing, I was complaining, I was so upset about the way that my life was, And he said, Yvette, how much pain do you need to be in before you make a change? And I said, oh my God, I need to be pushed into a corner. I need to feel like I'm on my knees. I need to feel like I'm so unresourceful, so depressed that, I start to make a change. And I said, I think that's how I would know. And he laughed and he said, well, that's the hard way, sure. But the easy way is to just decide to change and then do it. And I started laughing when he said that. I cried. So that's how hard I laughed, because you know what? He was right. Here I come with all my drama, all my, my need for a crisis and to for things to collapse in order for me to change. And here it is, something as simple as just making a change, just making a decision, and boom, that's it. Just make a decision. I wish I knew that earlier in my life, because I can sometimes be quite dramatic. And this was one of my drama patterns, like needing a crisis before I decide to heal, needing a crisis before I change, needing to have so much pain in my life before something shifts. I don't know if even if you here can relate with that, but that absolutely was the case for me. And so I did decide to change. I did decide to shift. And when I started to work towards loving again, for all this heartbreak and failure, all this, everything that went wrong in my life, I realized I need to change what my definition of self love is. Not love, not even love. That's a whole separate point, but self love, because that's where it starts. It's with you. If you cannot believe or feel worthy of loving yourself, how are you going to allow someone else to do that for you? And if you do love, and if you do allow someone to love you before you can love yourself, do you know what's going to happen? Let me tell you, all your power is going to be with that person, because you're now falling in love in a disempowered way. You're falling in love in a disempowered way. Now what? Oh my goodness. Now what? This is a great question, isn't it? Because when we look at it from this perspective now, if we don't love ourselves, it also means we don't love ourselves enough to have boundaries. We don't love ourselves enough to know how we would like to be respected. We don't love ourselves enough to know what our needs are. That's what I mean by being and feeling disempowered. That means someone else can now come and dictate this all to us. And we're so desperate to be loved that we accept it, because at least the price or the reward that we're getting for not loving ourselves is love. But this is not real true love, because you are going to probably end up with someone that's going to be a narcissist, an abusive person, an emotionally unavailable person, or someone who's probably just going to end up using you. And deep down, there's a part of you that's quite okay with it, because at least you're getting what you want. So these are a lot of the reasons and patterns why people don't find the love that they want and need. I mean, we can find fake love, of sure, it's everywhere. But I don't know about you guys, but I want deep, meaningful love. Deep, meaningful love. Who doesn't want that? The kind of love that makes you feel safe. The kind of love that makes you feel supported. The kind of love that makes you feel respected. The kind of love that helps you to feel that while my boundaries are being hurt, I feel cherished. I feel valued. I get that. I want that too. And I found it. I did find it. But there were a few things that I had to work on first. So the first secret to falling in love again, not the first one, the second one, actually, the first one is to let go. You have to let go of what you thought, or at least how your relationships were in the past, because you can't keep dragging that baggage with you. You can't keep dragging that baggage with you. And the other point is, learn how to love yourself again. Learn how to love yourself again. Because the reason why we don't love ourselves is because this feedback that we're getting from our environment, meaning when I want love and people react in a negative way, that starts to set the barometer of what we think we are worthy of. It sets the barometer of what we think we are worthy of. Now we have a bigger problem because someone else's negative feedback has now become the foundation and the platform by which we now decide and feel what we can and cannot have. Well, that's really sad because these people with the toxic and negative feedback, they are giving this feedback based on their own trauma, based on their own limited perceptions, based on their own emotional availability, which often can be quite limited. And then we think, wow, well, that must be what I'm worthy of. I mean, that's probably how much love I can get. I can't have more than that because my environment is not showing me that I can have more than that. And so we keep ourselves small. The barometer of how much love we think we can have stays low. We have to decide, I'm worthy of more than that, and then work towards that. And how do we do that? We do that by learning to befriend ourselves, to love ourselves so much and enough and in a powerful way that we're not going to tolerate disrespect or abuse or being taken advantage of. I mean, gosh, when you really truly love yourself, you're not even going to align with people like that, which you will not filter in that low vibration anymore. You will filter in more vibrations that's in alignment with you and your newfound sense of self-love. That's a very important point to remember. And another point that I also want to mention here with you, I think for me, when I think back about it now, which I'm really thinking really hard, is communication. If you want to fall in love again, you have to learn how to communicate your love, how to communicate your boundaries, how to communicate your needs, how to gracefully deal with conflict. Because how we deal with conflict, believe it or not, really truly sets forward how long a relationship's going to last or not. If you cannot deal with conflict in a graceful manner, I'm telling you now, every time when there's conflict and is dealt with in a very abrasive and aggressive or abusive way, it's like you have a vase, like, these big pot plants. And imagine it's glass or any color of your choice, and you drop it. Every conflict is you dropping that pot. You can pick up the pieces and put it back together, but you will always see the cracks. You will always see the cracks. Because to have a very aggressive argument with someone that you love, it cuts deep and it leaves emotional scars. Why? Because we are normally emotionally more vulnerable, more open with people that we love. And of course, that's why we can get a lot more hurt. It's because of that. Now, the more graceful you can have an argument in a very respectful way, the more you're going to see there's going to be less and less and less cracks in this pot. And you're not going to feel so emotionally wounded or traumatized or upset. And you'll find that it's much easier to bounce back to a healthy, good, open relationship with your partner and open communication. Right? That's very important. So communication for me was a tough one to learn as well. I used to be an aggressive communicator. And I realized the reason why was because of my father. He was a very aggressive communicator. And my mom was the calm one. She was the peacekeeper. So I had this duality. And my dad screamed all the time. I'm sometimes sat there and I'm thinking, good God, does this man know how to talk? Does he know how to just say something in a normal way? Because everything was with impact. Everything was very volatile. And I realized it's because he felt so unworthy of being heard. He had such a fear of his opinion not coming across because he was so suppressed in his life. But that doesn't mean that my mom and I and everyone else in the world has to pay the price for that. But we did. He was a very volatile person. But what I realize now that I don't have someone like an authority figure or a parent hanging over my head dictating to me how I should feel and what I can and cannot say, now I really feel that I found my power. Now I really realize that I can choose how I want to communicate. I can choose the gracefulness and the calmness in my communication. Sometimes I slip up. I'm not going to lie here to you. Sometimes I slip up. My husband's like, you could have said that a lot gentler. I'm like, you're right, I could have, and I'm sorry. So learn how to communicate gracefully and don't be scared of apologizing. Don't be scared of admitting that you did something wrong. Because if you can't do that, then your ego will always stand between you and everlasting love. Because when it comes to love, real true love, the ego is the worst toxic enemy. It's the worst toxic enemy. It will always destroy the love that you have. And I've learned how to balance my ego in relationships. A partner is someone to fall in love with and to do fun things with and to work as a team. They're not a competitor. They're not someone to control. They're not someone to dictate to. They're someone to communicate to talk with, to communicate your goals and your dreams with. And if you have conflict, to gracefully communicate that to them, right? Communicate solutions instead of dealing and focusing on problems. And that's another point that I want to talk to you about as well. So open communication is the third secret that I want to share with you. The fourth one that I want to share here with you is um, where's your focus? Where's your focus when you are in a relationship? When the honeymoon phase starts to wear off, is your focus on learning how to perhaps see the best in your partner? Because listen, when times get tough, when things get stressful, when you feel exhausted, when your partner's getting on your nerves, maybe they have a bad habit and it's just really, chewing away at you, what happens? We start to focus on only that. We start to focus on the negative. Now, what happens when we focus on the negative? It's all that we see in the partner. It's all that we see. And we start to argue more with them because we feel so irritated, we feel so defensive, we feel so like you've had enough. Your threshold for dealing with their negativity, which is the only thing that you're focusing on, which kind of is in a way our fault. Because what would happen and what would you see if you took away all this negativity? If you took away all these bad things that you're just always seeing about them? What if I had to ask you if you can look at your partner and tell me 5 things that they're doing right? 5 things that they are doing right. That's what I did. Instead of focusing on the negative, I'm looking at them. And I'm looking at, well, okay, I'm really angry right now. And I'm so angry, I feel like I want to end the relationship. And I'm thinking to myself, you know what? Just stop. Because to want to end a relationship because you've been so focused on one negative thing the whole time and you fail to see all the other good things that they're doing, that saves relationships. That one step saves marriages. Look at your partner and ask, what are the 5 top things that they are doing right? What are they doing right? And you're going to see it diffuses this negative idea that you have of them. It already diffuses that. So these simple 5 points can absolutely change a relationship around. And if you step into a new one, just having these basic key points in mind can help you to cultivate such a powerful, powerful relationship. Incredibly powerful. So now, I would love to do a healing meditation with you to help you to find that love again, or maybe to just reinvigorate the current love that you have in your life. But before I do, also keep in mind, if this is something that you're really serious about, if you're very, very serious about finding love again, then I would highly recommend my online self-paced course, which is How to Find Love Again. It's 5 hours of intensive work where I'm going to teach you how to find yourself again, how to connect to your boundaries, how to connect to great communication relationships, how to find the one and how to recognize the one, how to really fall in love again, how to redefine what your definition of love is as well, so that you can align to that definition of love. There's going to be so much that I'm going to be sharing there with you. And I will be doing the exercises with you. So I'll be sharing with you my feedback so that you can understand and learn and see that, wow, how I feel is pretty normal. It's not just me. I'm not alone in this boat. So I really would love to share that with you. And you get 10% discount off today here at the live with me. So if you want to jump in and join in with that, please do, because this is a very, very powerful course that is designed and based on my own intimate personal experiences that I've had with failed relationships and what I learned and how to recreate positive relationships and how I finally attracted my soulmate. And now I have a family that I thought I would never in my life have. I was 36 and I never thought that I will have all of the things that I have right now, which I do. So the good news is it doesn't matter how old you are. And God, I'm 40 now. It doesn't matter how old you are or where you are. It's never too late to find what you really truly want and deserve and need in your life. I can absolutely assure you that it's your mindset around it that's going to hold you back. It's just your mindset. And so now you'll see in this chat box and description box where you can find all this really awesome information, because we are going live with it tomorrow, and all our courses are IPHM and CTAA accredited as well, including this one too. So I would love to start this healing meditation with you now. And so when you are ready, let's start by taking a nice deep breath. One more time. Deep breath and exhale. And now, I invite you to start by just focusing on your breath. Just as you're inhaling gently and exhaling. And now, I invite you to find yourself in an open space. Or it can be in the forest or the ocean, somewhere beautiful, somewhere where you feel at peace, where you feel calm. Your place. And now, I invite you to think of or think back to that one thing that you would feel or say in your life that you feel that's holding you back from finding love again. What would you say that is? And feel free to share it in the chat box if you want to. What do you feel is that one thing that's holding you back from finding love again? It can be a thought, a pattern, a trauma. It can be anything. I think I'm going to share with you, I'll do this with you. I think for me, it was in the past, not anymore, but in the past, it was to trust. I didn't trust. I always joke and say that it was my life purpose to trust, to learn to trust again. For me, it was trust. Okay, so whatever your answer is right now, I invite you to observe where in your body do you feel that stress. So for me, in the past, I always felt it in the heart. Always felt it in the heart. And now, I invite you to think of whatever it is that you felt, whatever your answer was, meaning the thing that's standing between you and falling in love again or loving again. What do you feel you need to be able to put that to rest or to heal that? What do you need? So for me, with the lack of trust that I had in the past, for me, it was absolutely to feel safe within myself. I had to learn how to feel safe within myself again. So my question to you is, what do you feel you need to be able to put to rest this trauma or stress or grief or self-doubt that you have, or lack of trust, whatever your answer was? Think of that now. And whatever your answer was, and remember it has to be positive, of course. So whatever your answer was, imagine that you have this big ball of light. And you're now filling this big ball of light with that positive answer, that need. So for me, I would, for example, be to feel safe in myself again. So feeling that ball of light, feeling safe within myself again. And then when you are ready, bringing that ball of light into the area of your body where you felt that old stress, where you felt the old stress or the block was in your body, bringing it into your body. And as you're doing that, feeling how it's integrating and merging through every single cell in your body. And also bringing a beautiful, warm energy healing light to flow through you from your head, down your body, down, 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 out your face. Take a nice deep breath and breathe into it. Ease into it. And now, bring your full awareness and focus to the bottom of your feet. Bring your full focus and awareness to the bottom of your feet, integrating and grounding yourself. Allowing the body and the cellular memory of the body now to remember what this feels like, and allowing this healing to continue throughout your day and night. Opening up more and more and more possibilities for you to fall in love again. Whether you are currently with someone or whether you are looking for a partner. And when you're ready, you can gently come back. Very good. Excellent. Well done. Thank you so much for coming back here with me. It was lovely to have you guys here. And if you have any questions about how to find love again, feel free to ask. Otherwise, we will log off and I will be seeing you very, very shortly soon again. I'll be doing another live stream about how to understand the language of the body. And we'll be doing that in an hour's time. So if you want to jump online and join us for that, please do. It's going to be a lot of fun, and we'll be doing another healing meditation as well. So we'll be diving into the body and its senses and how to intuitively connect with the body as well. All right. Okay, so everyone, thank you so much for being here with me today. Thank you for your love, your time, and your energy. I love you guys. And until next time, big hugs, big kisses. Bye. Bye, everyone.